Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the state of voice in the contact center industry. Just to let everyone know, we're recording the webinar and we'll be sending out a link to it later on this week. So, my name is Alex Fleming. I'm the product marketing manager at Speechmatics, along with Hayley from Redbox, who will introduce herself in a second. We'll be giving an overview on the state of voice in the contact center market and pulling out a few of the findings from a recent report that we published. For those of you who aren't familiar with Speechmatics, we're a machine learning company that specializes in speech recognition. In its simplest form, we take voice and transform it into text. We do this with fantastic levels of accuracy in over 30 different languages, on-premise or in the cloud, to unlock the value of voice. This can be used in a variety of use cases, from straight up transcription to captioning, and especially in the contact center, organizations can use Speechmatics as a tool to extract the value of voice and enrich their business processes. And I'll just hand over to Hayley to introduce herself from Redbox.
Hi, thanks, Alex. Hi, everybody. As Alex said, I'm product marketing manager here at Redbox. Just a brief introduction to Redbox. We're a leading dedicated voice specialist. The Redbox platform enables the capture of organized-wide voice conversations for 55+ UC and telephony platforms, and we ensure that our customers have full data sovereignty. And through our open APIs and a best-of-breed partner ecosystem, we're really helping organizations to maximize their voice data.
So in today's webinar, we'll be looking at the rise in AI and how voice technologies become more mainstream and becoming more relevant, able to add value in real-world applications. But there are a number of challenges that the contact centers need to overcome, and we'll also discuss these points. So speech tech has been talked about a lot in recent years, but I think it's now reached a point where it can deliver on the promises made by applications like sentiment analysis and voice bots. We want to talk about how Speechmatics, speech-to-text, and Redbox's advanced call recording can really drive a shift in the market, and our predictions for the future in the industry in regards to the applications of speech tech, the areas it can deliver a real difference, and the benefits that it can offer. Please feel free throughout the webinar to submit any questions that you might have. We'll have a segment at the end where we'll try and address these questions. So, if voice is the lifeblood of the contact center, we're going to look at how important that it is within this organization. So the rise in AI means that voice technologies become more mainstream. Gartner recently reported that automatic speech recognition is now at a level that it can be used to drive productivity and has transcended the hype that was previously associated with this technology. It's reached a level of maturity where organizations can use ASR reliably and accurately to transcribe voice interactions to unlock the insight held within voice. This means that they're able to use this rich source of data and the information that can be derived from it for things like supporting agents and augmenting engagement and workload, done through the deployment of AI-enabled tools and solutions capable of dealing with natural language interactions, aka reacting and responding with voice. These can take the load off agents, enabling them to focus more on interactions that can benefit solely from human engagement. This can be done through transcribing calls and utilizing the data to fuel these capabilities. The delivery of a deeper level of understanding about products, services, and the voice of the customer. So speech tech can ultimately deliver insight in any environment that voice is involved with. Doing this automatically and seamlessly empowers existing technologies within a solution stack with the intention of reducing cost and customer churn. ASR is now a practical tool that can be used to underpin business objectives. For example, contact center organizations have huge amounts of call data and see the potential that this data can deliver to them. As part of a recent research that we put together and published in a number of places, and you can find it on our website, we found that 78% of contact center professionals that have adopted speech technology find it to be either valuable or very valuable to their organization. And 82% of contact center professionals have either considered or are currently implementing a voice strategy for their business either now or in the next 5 years. But it can be a challenge for companies to extract the value that's held within this resource.
Thank you, Alex. And as Alex was just touching there, voice is very rarely stored in one cohesive place. Across organizations, data and voice data in particular tends to be held in very siloed environments. And historically, this has made it very difficult to analyze, especially at scale in an unstructured format. We're finding that call centers are increasingly looking at differentiation. They're trying to drive business improvements to maximize their revenue, to reduce customer churn and improve employee satisfaction and productivity. Through personalizing customer journeys, task automation, and utilizing voice technology and AI tools, many organizations are already seeing encouraging results. Voice is a very unique and rich data set. And by combining this voice data with ASR tools, AI, and analytics, you can really start to deliver highly valuable and actionable insights. Through data sovereignty, organizations are able to utilize the tools best suited to achieving their own personal goals, without the restriction of being locked into one product or one application stack. So with the rise of AI and ML tools, they really do rely on high quality audio coupled with high quality, highly accurate transcriptions to deliver on the promises of those actionable insights. Many organizations have already tried to adopt these tools, but through compressed or compromised audio quality, they're unable to realize the true value within their voice data. Text-based and omnichannels deliver a level of insight, but voice is an especially salient data point, as it conveys intent, sentiment, emotion, action, and context.
So as Hayley said, high quality recording of calls and transcription should really be at the core of any solution. High quality audio optimizes the accuracy of transcription. While ASR solutions can be engineered to deal with challenging audio, the honest fact is that the better the audio quality, the better the chance of delivering quality transcription, and in turn, the outcomes of other tools that are fueled by this transcription. Quality at the early stages of voice capture is essential to empower downstream tools and processes like analytics. To get the best possible outcome from NLP tools, you need the best possible input. In a lot of cases, organizations have already heavily invested in NLP tools and are already able to derive a great deal of insight from the omnichannel. These channels are aimed to better replicate the way in which consumers interact with each other, and the contact centers have tried to and attempted to replicate this in the way that people should be able to interact with their businesses. Text-based channels like text bots, email, social media, and instant messaging, while delivering new and more convenient ways to engage, don't have the richness of data, like Hayley said, that voice can deliver. And so insight that can be derived from these sources is less than their voice-based equivalents. The recent adoption of NLP tools has demonstrated that organizations have made both a technical and financial commitment to better understand the interactions of their customers, and ASR enables these tools to leverage voice in a text-based format. High quality call recording, as I said, is essential to deliver some of these important touch points that was highlighted in our research. These points included highly accurate transcription at high speed and in real time at a competitive price. In addition, it was also identified that for contact centers, real time delivers more value than transcribing pre-recorded media files. This is totally understandable when you think that a lot of time that there's a great deal of value that can be leveraged from delivering services on the fly, which is the way that a lot of these calls happen with agents. On-premise deployments also strengthen real-time use cases. While data transiting to third-party cloud solutions is, of course, rapid with today's internet, this process opens up a potential risk of interception and means that real-time services could be affected by latency. This also requires the contact centers to trust the third-party cloud provider that they're investing in. On-premise solutions mitigate both of these issues, as well as ensuring that data remains within the organization's secure and trusted environment. The The transformation of voice to text means that contact centers can drive the performance and the capabilities of the existing tools within their solution stack. It's not enough these days to just record conversations anymore. These are expensive to store due to their size, hard to interact with, and extract insight from. Due to the format and in discovery use cases where specific content of the call is needed, this discovery is time consuming and expensive. As Hayley said, the storage of recordings is also very disparate and so can be very challenging to interact with. With the adoption of speech tech becoming more and more popular, organizations have focused on unlocking the value of these recordings to not only better understand their customers and how to improve their services, but also leverage new speech-based interfaces to deliver innovative solutions to maintain relevance in their market. At the moment, speech technology and speech solutions do enable organizations to differentiate from their competition. But personally, in my opinion, I think this will be quite short-lived in this space. And I think we'll soon approach a time where speech technology within these markets is a standard and not a point of difference. Our research discovered that voice technology helps to uplift the following use cases in particular. IVR, transcription has the potential to eliminate touch tone menu navigation, instead utilizing the voice for navigation journey. Contact centers can augment their workforce through the utilization of synthetic agents powered by automatic speech recognition, delivering a hybrid of both man and machine. This then delivers operational efficiencies to the contact center with the capability to deflect high volume, low skilled jobs from agents, and while also delivering improved customer service through reduction of call wait time. A perfect use case of this would be password resets. Compliance, the discoverability and interaction and exposing of content within calls is key to monitor compliance. Organizations are increasingly looking for tools and solutions not only capture calls, but also can transform them into a text to enable them to be included and used by existing NLP tools. Speech tech isn't a one size fits all. Standard language models coupled with the ability to customize vocabulary and terms enables accurate recognition of industry specific technology. The ability to add words quickly and easily is also essential to compliance use cases. Finally, one I just want to highlight is analytics. I think it's a relatively popular one in this space. And when it comes to the benefits of speech tech, organizations need to be able to gather, triage, understand, and then action data. Analytics and NLP tools are key to this process. With contact centers and organizations already seeing the value in NLP and have already developed these solutions for text-based inputs like bots, email, social, etc., like we mentioned earlier, they're looking for new ways to involve voice in the solutions that are already deployed. From the research, the benefits of speech tech also cover operational efficiencies. Contact centers are focused more and more on their ability to uplift their customer experience while minimizing cost. Real-time prompting of agents and the easy accessibility of repositories of content enable this. Moreover, it's this real-time capability of speech tech and subsequent identification of keywords within transcripts that enable relevant topics to be delivered to agents automatically, so having a dynamic knowledge base. Sometimes the simplest applications of speech tech can actually be the most effective. Just by transcribing calls means that human agents just don't have to. This reduces the time spent away from the callers and means that agents can process more time and more calls and add value where only they can. All these elements have an impact on customer experience that ASR can add value to.
Thanks, Alex. And just moving forward with that, looking at how to leverage voice data. To truly understand the voice of your customers, organizations need to analyze every conversation from every touch point within that customer's journey. The powerful combination of voice, ASR, and AI can support multidisciplines in any organization. These tools can be utilized to underpin compliance initiatives and script adherence. Voice data can really shine a light on why some sales representatives outperform the rest of the team, highlight upsell or cross-selling opportunities through keywords or product trends. And as Alex just spoken about, it can help to underpin customer experience strategies, can start to reduce churn, increase the average sales value by customer, increase loyalty, and of course, reduce complaints. As the old saying goes, the data you get out is only as good as that data that you put in. So high quality audio coupled with high quality speech recognition have to be at the core of any organization's voice strategy.
So with organizations focused on gaining insight to uplift the experience of their customers, speech tech is able to add value wherever voice exists. And like Hayley mentioned, the ability to have all of that voice available to you in a single location to be able to provide all of the insight available that's contained within it is hugely important. Voice is a rich and vibrant source of insight, but unlocking that insight is really key. Even before this, it's essential to preserve the quality of the calls to ensure they're in optimal condition. This then optimizes the accuracy, the ASR, and the quality of these tools that can be fed by the text. It's for this reason that the ability to capture calls in high quality from anywhere is vital to get a holistic and comprehensive picture of interactions. Contact centers are looking to voice technology to unlock previously untouched voice data from calls to provide agents with training opportunities that they require. Transcripts can be used to identify how issues can be solved in the past to improve the customer journey and reduce interaction times. Transcripts of calls also enable easy access to data and use this in compliance auditing to accelerate dispute resolutions and ultimately achieve better customer experience. The financial sector is one of the most regulated in the world, and organizations are motivated to understand and protect the data that is exposed to them. For this reason, it's never been a better time to invest and deploy tools that deliver better insight into data provided by customers securely. When it comes to data, often the focus is what it contains. But what's also important is where it's stored and the location of tools like ASR. On-premise deployments with the capability of speech text means that organizations are not abstracted from the data which remains in their secure environment, further protecting both the customer and the organization.
Thanks, Alex. So the way organizations are looking to use their voice data has changed significantly. Many organizations, particularly those that are regulated and have compliance that they have to adhere to, have already invested heavily in order to meet those regulations, remaining compliant, but they are now looking at how they can utilize this investment. Initially, organizations were looking at optimizing their workforce to start to drive efficiencies and performance improvements. Customer experience has risen to the top of organizations' agendas as consumers have become much more savvy, with higher expectations in the service levels that they're receiving. Detailed business intelligence and analytics, coupled with understanding the conversations across the enterprise and all touch points within a customer journey, are now key to organizations not only maintaining, but also looking to extend their market positions. Organizations are proactively looking to move to data-driven processes and decision-making, and ultimately moving through into digital transformation.
So we've had a number of questions come through. Please feel free to keep adding to the questions as we kind of keep addressing the questions that we've got so far. But we'll start off, I hope Hayley won't mind, but I'll take the first one that's come through, which is what about different non-UK English accents? So it's a really, really good question. So English is a huge language that's being very broadly adopted throughout the world, but you're right, there are multiple accents and dialects. So when it comes to providing speech recognition on those, it can be quite challenging. So Speechmatics has actually taken quite a unique approach to this, which is we have a single English language pack, we call it. So we call it Global English. And what we've done is, as part of that language pack, we've trained on a great number of accents and dialects. What this enables us to do is be able to provide best quality accuracy when it comes to transcription on a very broad range of accents and dialects. There's a number of benefits that this offers, actually, especially in the contact center space where you have multiple people having conversation. If one person has a different accent to another, previously you might have had to deploy multiple English language packs to get the accuracy, which of course means that you have to deploy 2 separate instances of those language models. You then have to you have the cost and time of doing that twice. But with the Speechmatics Global English, it means you only have to do that once, which provides great optimization within these use cases. So it's a great question, and we would encourage anyone who's interested in our Global English to have a go. Get in touch with us, and if you want to try it out, please put as many accents to it as you like, and we'd be very interested to hear your feedback. So we also had a number of questions that came in ahead of the webinar. Hayley, as I took the first one, have you got any questions that came in that you would like to answer?
Yeah, one came in beforehand, and that was talking about concerns around legacy telephony. And I think one of the things to highlight, as I did at the beginning, is at Redbox, we are quite unique and we're able to capture voice from a vast number of telephony integrations, legacy and new. So I think I gave the figure, it's over 55 telephony integrations that we're able to capture that voice from, and then through the way our Redbox solution works, our open APIs and our partnership with Speechmatics, we're able to push that data to the AI ML analytics tools that you're looking to utilize. So certainly please don't feel that you're limited or can't adopt this technology to help improve your processes within your contact center environment. And by all means get in touch, and we can have a more detailed conversation regarding the telephony integration that you're utilizing.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. It's for people who feel that there might be a barrier to adoption. With working with Redbox, it just means that that barrier just doesn't exist. So that's it's a great way of providing those operational efficiencies, which is so important. Another question that came in talked about kind of the growth rate and adoption of this technology within the contact center industry. So we kind of addressed it a little bit earlier. So 82% of contact center professionals have either considered or are currently implementing voice strategy for their businesses either now or in the next 5 years. So I think that the growth rate is increasing, especially with people like Gartner talking about how speech recognition has hit that kind of level of maturity. I suppose for me, ASR has been a really high quality for actually a couple of years now. Specifically in English, it's a very broadly adopted language. As I mentioned, Speechmatics actually supports over 30 languages now, so we can deliver these kind of services in a massive range of languages. And it really means that contact centers have this fantastic tool now that they can trust and utilize to really extract the value that they've got within their call data. It also means I think we found that there was a stat came back that said 46% said that speech tech gave them a competitive advantage. But as I mentioned, I think really we're getting to a point where the maturity of speech technology is getting to a point where really I think it's at a level it can add huge amounts of value, and so we're in that situation where soon I think it won't almost offer a level of differentiation. It'll be a must-have for organizations to really extract that data. And I'll throw it back to Hayley so she can have a look at any other questions she's got.
Yeah, and I think just to touch on that point really, Alex, that voice is and always will be kind of the most powerful form of communication. And going back to my last slide, it's all about that evolution. We've come so far from just recording calls for compliance and for trying to minimize risk and looking at surveillance, and we're looking at how we can proactively use our voice conversations and conversations across organizations to really help inform us of what's happening and what conversations are taking place within those organizations. And I'm share the same opinion of Alex. I certainly feel that, you know, this is definitely becoming the norm. People are actually wanting to really leverage their voice data now.
Thanks, Hayley. Yeah, I think it's it's a growing market, and people are really coming around to understanding, and leveraging these kind of tools, which is really powerful for them. Another question that's just come in actually is about what do you do in the case of multiple languages are used, in contact centers? So an example given in India, where you might have English and then a local language like Hindi. So the benefit is that Speechmatics supports both of those languages. So that's good. There currently isn't, I suppose, a streamline solution to flip automatic speech recognition from one language to another. You can run both of those language packs in parallel, which means that after you've recorded the call, that those can be kind of knit together to give a holistic transcript. It kind of goes back to using global English. We've got a number of accents, Indian accents within there, so you can get quite good recognition from that. But yeah, it is a kind of a challenge of using kind of automatic speech recognition from a deployment and usage point of view. But there's nothing stopping running those recordings in parallel, transcribing them, and then adding them together. Hayley, do you have any others? I've got another one that kind of leads on from that.
Yeah, you go ahead. That's great.
Cool. So another question that kind of come through is there a way to name speakers in a transcript? And the short answer to that is yes. So we have a feature called Channelerization. It means that if you are recording on multiple channels, you might have an agent on channel 1 and you might have the caller on channel 2. Then what you can do is you can label those, and in a transcript, that data can feed through, and then you can do what we call channel diarization. So you can identify those two speakers. Hayley, do you have any more? I've got a few more questions my end.
I think that was all that had come in specifically around the voice capture piece. So yeah, okay. Feel free to delve a little bit deeper into ASR. Okay,
cool. So one of the other questions that we had come through was how close to real-time transcription can we really get? So it's a really interesting question, and there will always be a trade-off when it comes to ASR and real-time between latency and accuracy. But when I talk about latency, I'm talking in the single seconds and normally under 5 seconds. But as part of our real-time solution, we have that as a configurable parameter, which means that you can set that latency to whatever you want. So obviously there will be a trade-off. If you have an increased amount of latency, you'll get better accuracy. But as I said, less than 5 seconds, you'll get really good accuracy. And what this enables you to do by uplifting accuracy, and what I mean by that is we provide contextual kind of understanding within our speech recognition. So a really good example that we tend to use quite often is if I said the words, I read a red book. Then by configuring a certain amount of latency into that, what the ASR engine would do is go back and understand, okay, Alex is talking about reading, but he's also talking about the color. So I can go back and I can what we call rescore that transcript output to spell read, R-E-A-D, as in read the book, but also understand that he's talking about a read, R-E-D book. So you can use that latency, which, as I said, is totally configurable, to uplift your accuracy. So it's a really, really powerful tool when using real-time. And we understand that, real-time is really, really fantastic in the contact center, right? So you're having agents are having conversations in real time. They might need support when it comes to training or understanding, and being able to have real-time ASR, which is putting it into a text-based format that can feed the tools within the workflow to identify keywords. That could be a new product or service that they've got, to identify, this customer is talking about this product or service. I've only just rolled this out. My agents might not have all the information. I can automatically prompt them with it. So to have that real time is really, really powerful. But at the same time, it's not to say that the pre-recorded content isn't equally valuable. We did a bit of research that found like 30% of agent time is spent typing up notes that have the possibility to be inaccurate, or people are only human, right? They might miss something that actually could be really important to that conversation. And so being able to populate an interaction history autonomously means that you can free up your agents to add value where only they can, or deal with more calls, and that's really important. A question came in about how do you measure accuracy. So at Speechmatics, we've done quite a lot of work in regards to trying to educate kind of the market about what do we call accuracy, or what do you call accuracy, because I expect people on this call will probably have different understanding of accuracy and what that means to them. I think that word error rate is a big thing, but it's not the thing. So it is a kind of globally understood metric that we try to use to benchmark, and it is used by kind of a lot of people. So it means that you're on a level playing field. So in regards to accuracy, we often mean word error rate, but there are lots of other things to consider. I was just talking about interaction history. So if you take that use case, we've rolled out in the last year advanced punctuation. Now, the benefit that gives is it means that you can add full stops, commas, question marks, exclamation marks, which means that if I'm an agent and I'm reviewing the call history or interaction history of a caller, it means I can very easily understand and read that piece of text because it's properly punctuated. Having every single word perfect, but having no punctuation actually makes it very difficult to engage with. And so when it comes to accuracy, it might be that it's an accurate representation of speech through having proper punctuation. And so I think that everyone who's using ASR needs to think, what are the KPIs? What are the things that are really important to me? How do I deliver this? And when evaluating ASR providers, have those really strongly in your mind to understand what is it that adds most value to me, and not just think about the lowest word error rate is the one that wins.
Hi, Alex. Just before you continue, there's a couple of attendees that have actually raised their hands. It's just to say, if you do have a question, please type it into the question pane so that we can see it, and then we can answer that for you. Sorry, Alex, don't know if you've got any more that came in before, just while these attendees perhaps type their questions in.
Yeah, I'm going to, so I don't have any additional questions. There was one that's just a follow-up, sorry, about running multiple languages. So you would, in a case where you had, if you wanted to run multiple language pucks, you would have to set those up beforehand. I think this is, it sounds like kind of a specific use case. So if you've raised the question about running multiple language packs, probably best in this forum to take it offline. There should be some links to the Speechmatics, how to get in touch with Speechmatics. So if you want to raise that outside of the webinar, that's cool. We'll get back to you as soon as we can and have a more tailored and specific answer to your question. I've just been informed the best email address to get us on is hello speechmatics.com. Oh, how accurate is Speechmatics? So this is always an interesting question, and the question, the way that I always would go after this question is, I don't want to tell you how accurate Speechmatics is. I want you to test it and tell me. So we know that every use case is different. Every application of a language is different. What we do is we try and give you all the tools you need to increase the accuracy as best you can. Now, one of the things that we have is custom dictionary. So if you have specific vocabulary that might not be included in our language packs, what we try and do is we make that accessible to you very, very easily. You can add those specific terms within our API, and it will mean that you can quite easily bias the model towards those terms and languages. So one of the examples I use quite often is Brexit. When that term started kind of popping up in the early stages a couple of years ago, then obviously it didn't fall within a lot of ASR models. But as it got more readily adopted, it did, and it fell into those models. But when people wanted to have accurate transcription of that, it means that you can use a custom dictionary to add that word, and it will automatically give you that recognition. It's also really good for names. So if you've got to put your name in that for your company or brand, you want to make sure that falls within the transcription. Then it's important that you can use those kind of tools to deliver that. But yeah, we deliver all of the capabilities hopefully to enable you to uplift your accuracy dependent on your use case.
Okay, and just I've seen a couple of questions come in around GDPR and privacy, and I think actually in this forum it's actually quite a detailed conversation, because there's different areas. There's the Redbox side in terms of sensitive data and making sure that's not captured, and then how information goes through into the ASR tool. So again, as Alex said to the person that's asked that question, it may be a very specific use case that you're looking at. So let's take it out of this, where we can actually have more of a conversation with each other, and we can certainly go into that detail with you.
Thanks, Hayley. I just want to address one of the questions that came in regards to differentiate between multiple people. So I talked about channel diarization. So we support channel diarization up to 8 different channels. So it means if you've got a conference call with 8 different inputs, then you can tag all of those. And yeah, so we support up to 8 at the moment, I believe. So does anyone else have any questions that they want to raise at the moment? No? Okay, so I think if there are no more questions, so one's come in really, really quickly in regards to, can Speechmatics understand English language irrespective of the accent? So I wouldn't say irrespective of the accent. Our global English has a huge amount of accents and dialects that we train on to give the best possible chance of delivering the best possible accuracy in as many accents and dialects as possible. I think that if you have a specific accent or dialect that is important to you, or that is very relevant to you, then I would say please get in touch. We can enable you to try out our solution and see how it works for your use case. And I think actually that's a really nice place to end today. I'd like to thank everyone who has joined the webinar. I really like to say thank you to Hayley from Redbox for joining me today on the call. It was fantastic to have you, Hayley, and hopefully this is the start of many more webinars together, but I very much appreciate your time today.
That's great. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed the session, and like you say, some great questions. So yeah, hopefully speak to you all again very soon.
Brilliant. Well, as I said, thank you to everyone who joined, and we'll leave it there for today. Thanks very much, and everyone have a wonderful day. Thanks from Speechmatics and from Redbox.